And at this moment, she has no redeeming qualities because you are in the wrong. Your mama is in the wrong. Yet and still, you continue to act like these people have done something to your mom. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates, Season 1, Episode 128. Before we begin, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you know when I post. All right, so the episode starts off with Danny at the country club, and she's texting Andre that she's asking him where he's at because they're about to have breakfast plans or whatever, and or brunch or whatever it is that they're about to do. And Bill comes up and asks if the seat is taken, and she's just like, "Well, where's your wife?" And he's just like, she's at home or whatever. She called this lady a fever, a rash, called her persistent. She was just like, "Where's your persistent wife?" And he was just like, "Persistent?" She was just like, "Yeah, like, like a fever, a rash, something you can't get rid of." Danny stay cut that girl up. So Bill joins her at the table and they start to talk about the good old days and all this other good stuff. And they start to talk about Chelsea and how they were worried about her, through this whole ordeal. And they know that once she gets through with, then she'll be back to, the good old Chelsea. So we see Chelsea and Naomi. They're at Naomi's because Naomi cooked for them or whatever, made breakfast for them, and now she's asking Chelsea for help with her closet to do donations or whatever. And Chelsea's just like, "Girl, you don't need me for this." And it's just like, "Yeah, she don't. She's just trying to get your mind off of things, keep you moving or whatever." And Naomi basically tells her, like, "What, we got you. You got us all behind you. We're here to, help you through whatever it is. This is, you got to go through it, but just know that you got a village behind you." So we see Kat and Tomas. They're talking about Chelsea, and Kat wishes that she could do more, but she's happy that Madison is there. And then they start to talk about, love and all this other stuff, and they get all cute and he's talking about how he enjoys being with her and he wants to get a do-over for when they had sex or whatever. And so she was just like, "Okay, okay." Because she still don't like it. So they start to kiss, and here come Eva. She just sorry to interrupt, and she sits down, and it's just like, "You're not sorry, because if you really were sorry, you wouldn't have done it. You would have just went and sat somewhere else, and when they were done, you would have came over and said, 'Hey, can I talk to you?' But no, you decided to interrupt them mid kiss so that you could say something." So Kat gets annoyed, and Tomas is already on Eva's side. He's just like, "We don't know what she wants to say. It doesn't matter what she wants to say. She should have never interrupted y'all in the beginning." But of course, he's gonna be on Eva's side as always. So we see Samantha. She done brought a boy over to Kat and Chelsea's place, and it's just like, "Girl, your aunt, is that her aunt or her cousin? I don't know which. Is that her aunt? No, that's her cousin. Yeah, because Kat is her aunt, so Chelsea is her cousin. Yeah, because Chelsea. Yeah. Anyway, that's her. Whatever. Chelsea just got kidnapped from that house, and you're bringing a stranger to that house. Is you okay? I feel like I ask this every episode because y'all be doing things that is just like, "Are you okay?" Because what? So she brings the boy over, and they're talking about a project that they got to do for school or whatever, and he's flirting with her and all this other stuff. So we see Andre at the hospital, and he runs into Ashley, and he starts to talk about how asking about Derek and being there for people that you care about. And then she's just like, "It's a good thing we had our misunderstanding, or you wouldn't have been there for Danny during the time that Chelsea was gone." And I was just like, "So you mean to tell me, if you and Andre was in a relationship and Danny called and said, 'Andre, I need you,' you wouldn't have let him go?" Is that what you're telling me? But anyway, so they're talking. Derek Derek rolls his behind in there and he overhears them. So then we go back to Eva, Kat, and Tomas, and Eva wants to talk to Kat, and Kat isn't trying to hear her. She's just like, "Girl, I'm not trying to. What do you want? Like, I don't even care what you want. Like, leave me alone, basically." And Tomas is just like, give her a chance. She wants to, give her a chance. We don't know what she wants, and then Kat's just like, "I don't care what she wants. I don't have time for her. No." And Eva's just like, "Fine," and she plays all innocent or whatever, and she gets up like or whatever. So Kat was just like, "Fine, what do you want? The floor is yours." So we see Naomi back with Chelsea and they're talking, and Chelsea is just not, she's basically telling her she's not sure if she wants to go back to being an influencer, and everything that happened, and how Allison was just like, she knew so much about her. And Chelsea just wants to go back to being, she wants to be private now. She doesn't want to be an influencer anymore or whatever. And not Cat, Naomi was telling her like, um, if you want to be private, then that could be a good thing. You don't have to worry about seeing Allison again. And then she tells her that, she saw Allison at the police station, and Allison asked her to be her attorney. And Chelsea's just like, "I hope you said yes." And she was just like, "Huh?" So we go back to Bill and Danny, and they're talking about the girls, and just growing up, and they start talking about Chelsea, and then Bill is just like, "I can't believe she thought that I wouldn't approve of her relationship with Madison, and Madison is such a good girl. She helped me with my stroke and all this other stuff." And Danny is just like, well, Danny was just like, "So are you gonna do a background check on her?" And he was just like, "I'm not that bougie, or I'm not that pretentious." And she was just like, "Oh, but when Naomi was dating that lowly cop, you had an issue. It wasn't until you found out that his daddy was a police chief. I mean, the police chief, that you was just all happy." And so they start talking about how he would, whenever Chelsea would bring home guys, he was always like doing the dad thing or whatever. And he was just like, "No, I'm not like that," or whatever. So they start to laugh or whatever, and then they start holding hands. Like she puts her hands on him, and then he picks it up, and so they're holding hands or whatever. So we go back to Andre and Ashley, and they just continue to talk about what could have been and all this other stuff. And then we see that Ashley's starting to have second thoughts about it or whatever. And Andre tells her that she makes him want to be a better person. And I'm just like, "Okay, Andre." Like, okay. So we go back to Samantha, and she again is at Chelsea and Kat's place with that boy Nathan. I think that's his name. Yeah, I think it's Nathan. So they're talking about their project, and she's just like, telling him like, "Okay, this is what we should do. This is what we should do." And he was just like, "Yeah, I haven't done anything." And she was just like, "Oh, it's okay. You can use my notes or whatever." And he was just like, "When is the project due?" And she was just like, "Oh, it's due in a week or whatever." And he was just like, "Why does it feel like you've done it all?" And she was just like, "I mean, I was just bored." And it was just like, "Girl, did you do all this work?" "No, ma'am." That's why you have a partner, so you can do half and half. But she did all the work, so now he wants to make it up to her, and he tells her that him and his brother, they throw parties, and that's how they make money. So he was just like, he wants to have a model, and it be a Dupree, and she'll be the special guest. So he wants to like basically throw a party for her, like, and have her be the VIP guest or whatever. So we go back to Eva, Tomas, and Kat, and Eva basically wants to apologize for what her mom has done. And Kat isn't buying it, just like I'm not buying it, because I didn't forget that earlier this week you was talking about how you want Tomas to come in and help your mama take the Duprees down, basically. So what are you talking about? So Tomas again takes up for Eva, and Kat says she's sucking up to their dad and doing her mom's bidding, um, at the same time. And let's see what else happened. he says, okay, so yeah, so Cat is just like you sucking up to my mom, and then you're also doing your mom's bidding at the same time. Tomas is like, you're not being fair to her, and Cat is just like, I'm being clear, and I'm being clear, and I'm standing firm in the fact that I will never trust anything that Eva has to say. Eva says she's apologized and apologized. Kat tells her that's not an eraser, and no amount of DNA can erase what she's done. And that's exactly the truth. You can apologize and apologize, which technically you have not. You have apologized the one time, which was the day of the party. You apologized and then doubled down in what you did, and then you gave Kat the DNA test or whatever. So, okay, you apologized to Nicole once, and Nicole is already on your side. So again, what apologies are you doing? And then again, you apologizing, but you are continuing to do your mom's bidding, just like Kat said. Because again, I'm not forgetting that earlier this week you said that you are going to be your mama's fixer, and she can live wherever she want, and they can't gatekeep and all this other stuff. So are you really sorry? No, you're not. So Eva says she doesn't know why she tries, and Kat was like, all you and your mama always playing for an audience," and it's true, because if you really were sorry, yet again, like I said, you would not have interrupted them. You would have apologized to Kat on her own. You wanted to make sure that you did this public apology in front of someone, knowing that Kat was not going to take that apology. You knew she was not going to take that apology, because that girl has had her foot firmly on your neck since the day she met you. So you knew that this fake apology that you was providing to her was not going to move the needle one way or the other. You knew Kat would go off on you, and you wanted that to happen in front of Tomas to make Kat look bad in his eyes. And honestly, Cat always looks bad in Tomas's eyes, because he's forever going to take up for Eva, no matter what. He will always have Eva's back when it comes to Cat, and that's terrible. So, um, so Eva's left the table, and then that's when Kat says that she's always playing up for an audience, and then Tomas calls her a mean girl. Tomas, excuse me, she's a mean. Okay, we'll come back to that. So we see Ashley and Derek, they're talking, and he's playing in her face. He's doing this pity me, woe is me, and basically sugarcoating and making it seem, like letting her know, like, oh, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be this, and that, and all this other stuff. And it's just like, oh Lord. So he's trying to guilt her into staying with him, even though she's already with him. But because he's seen her with Andre, he knew that that is where she really wants to be, and she's really only with him because he got hurt. So we go back to Bill and Danny, and again, Danny is telling him how they've evolved, and they're gonna be better and better with each other for the sake of the girls or whatever. And so he's just like, you're saying all of this, but I feel like you have something to say. So Danny's just like, I feel like you sitting here because you don't want to go home to your wife. Which he doesn't. Because he don't want that woman no more. He wants you back, girl. He wants you back. So Danny tells him, get her jewelry. Flowers are nice, but jewelry will make up for what you did, because she was just like, I heard you telling her that you didn't want her around during this when this whole thing Chelsea was going on. So you need to make it up to her by getting her jewelry, or taking her on a lavish, expensive vacation. Like, if you want to, you need to make it up to her that way. And it's just like, even in that moment, Danny was being the better person because I wouldn't have said any of that because that heifer swooped in on your marriage. So no, I wouldn't. No, ma'am. But Danny was being a better person, telling him what he should do, and then Andre walks up and he was just like, "What's up, man? You in my seat?" I said, "What?" Bill looked at him like, "You little." I said, "Oh, Bill is jealous." So we go back to it went on a commercial break and then we came back and it's like, Andre's still standing there like, like, "What's up, man? You gonna get up on my seat or what? What's up?" And Bill is looking at him like, "If you don't move." And Danny is just like, "Yeah, we're done. Conversation's over. He's already had breakfast. Have a good day." I said, "I know that's right, Danny." She know how to play him like a fiddle. So Bill gets up pissed and then he walks away and he's just like, and then he stands up all tall and stuff. And it's just like, I mean, Andre's short. So I don't even want to say that Andre is short. Timon, which is the actor that plays Bill, he's a giant, apparently. He's like six something and everybody is short compared to him. So yeah. So Andre sits down and he's just like, "I think it's time we have the X chat." And I'm just like, "What X chat? You haven't had a girlfriend. So what are you talking about?" But whatever. So we get back to Ashley and Derek, and Ashley wants to know what Derek thinks of what ifs and if like if he believes in fate and all this other stuff, and if there was another world and some stuff that don't make no sense, pretty much. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just like, I don't care. So Derek is telling her that he doesn't want to be in a world without Ashley, and Ashley's his one and only, and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, he is laying it on thick for this girl. So she gets scared or whatever, and she leaves. And then because she's just like, "Oh, I have to go make my rounds or whatever." And then he starts to feel his legs, like he's pushing on his thigh to see if he can feel it, and he can feel it. So we get back to Chelsea and Naomi, and Chelsea is telling Naomi that she wants her to take the case so that she can make sure that Allison goes to jail. And Naomi is just like, "And that's exactly why the judge won't let me take the case, because he knows that I would probably throw it because it's a conflict of interest." And she's just like, what did she tells her? I forgot what she told her. I'm sorry. Naomi gives her another pep talk and tells her if she really wants to give up on influencing, then she's going to be there for her. And Chelsea was just like, "You know what? I'm not going to let Allison take anything else from me. And it's my choice." And, basically she's going to go back to it, but I guess little by little, she won't go back to it full force. So we go back to Kat and Tomas. And Kat wants to know how she's the mean girl when when Eva is the wrecking ball and she's the one standing in the rubble. He wants to know what Eva can do to prove herself to Kat. And Kat tells him she needs to emancipate herself, but she won't do that because she's just like her mama. And because her and Leslie are one and the same. And when a pariah becomes a parasite and moves in on a family and mooching off of my family and my father, and he tells her that's her father too, Kat gets annoyed and she wants to know what about little evil adjacent has turned him and his dad and her dad um has turned what she says, "What does little evil adjacent have that has Tomas and her dad acting this way? And do downtrodden women appeal to his Captain Save-A-Ho instincts?" She was reading him, thank God. She gets up to leave and he tells her, "No, don't leave. We haven't finished breakfast." Da 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 da. All this other stuff. She says, "I applaud you for wanting to save the world, but you're wasting your time saving it on the person who destroyed her family." And he says, "She's your family too." And she said, "That makes it worse." So he can take his pity for that basic bitch and choke on it. And he dips. And she dips. And I was just like, finally, finally. Like, I don't understand why anybody would want Kat to be okay with Eva after what she did. She has not made up for what she's done to this family. She's not made up, not even just a family, but especially to Nicole and Kat. She's walking around here living the life that she wants to live with her daddy, working for her daddy. Now her and her mama got money. And everyone is, not everyone, but Tomas and Ted want Kat to be okay with Eva. And that's not gonna happen. She had to hold her mom as she cried after this anniversary. Kat will forever have her foot on Eva's neck, and I am not mad at her because she has not done anything to redeem herself. And at this moment, she has no redeeming qualities because you know you are in the wrong. You know your mama is in the wrong. Yet and still, you continue to act like these people have done something to your mom when your mom is the one who's done something to her. Why you guys feel like y'all are old and entitled to be around these people after you've dismantled their family baffles me. So Kat none left, and Eva rolls her eyes, and of course like she runs straight to Tomas. And um let's see. uh yeah, she runs straight to Tomas, and Tomas is just like, I need to give you an answer on me taking your mom's case. And it's just like, okay, so in this instant, you are telling Kat that Eva needs to, like, you're asking Kat what Eva needs to do to prove to Kat that she's a better person. And then in the next breath, you're telling Eva that you basically want to take on her mom's case so they can continue to dismantle Kat's family. Because Eva again came to you earlier this week and told you that they want to dismantle the Duprees. Basically. She ain't say those words, but basically that's what she said. So why would you open your lips to ask Kat what can Eva do to prove that she is a better person when you know this lady is gearing up to come after that family again? So he goes on to say, no, Eva tells him, if you do that, you're going to be out of a job and out of a girlfriend. And it's just like, Eva, you knew that would have happened because, like, you knew this was a possibility. If he were to take on a case, that he would be out of a job with Bill because you're going up against Bill, and then you would be out of a girlfriend with Kat because you're siding with her enemy. Yet and still, you asked him to do this. So why did you even ask him? Like, no, for like, why did you even ask him? Because you knew that if he were to do it, this is a possibility. These possibilities that you just mentioned was going to happen, but you still asked him. So I have to wonder why you even asked him in the first place, because you wanted to see if he would have your back when you knew he would have, because he's always had your back. So this was another way that you could get at Kat. And it's just like, this is why I can't with you. I just can't. So she asked him what he's gonna do, and he says he'll figure it out. But if he's being honest, being with someone that lets their triggers turn them into another person, it's starting to wear on him. And it's just like, if you feel like, if you know what Kat's triggers are, why would you put her in a position to be triggered? You know how Kat feels about Eva, yet and still, you continuously put her in a position to have to go up against her. Like, when Eva walked away in this moment, you should have said nothing to Kat. You should have left it alone. But you wanted Eva to be heard, and you wanted Eva to trigger your girlfriend just so you can have an excuse to be mad at her. Because it makes no sense why you continuously take up for Eva when you know how your girlfriend feels about her. It's like, why do you continue to do that? But you don't like, you don't like Kat. That's what I'm seeing. Like, you don't like Kat, but you staying with her because of her name. That's how I see it. I'm sorry. So Eva looks happy about this news, and it's just like, girl, okay, whatever. So we go to Samantha and Nathan, and they're talking about the party, and she's talking about how the teacher probably put them together so that her good side would rub off on him. And then she's just like, I wonder how your bad side would rub off on me. And he gets close, and he was just like, I wonder. And then they start to kiss, and then Kat comes in. And she says, Samantha, what are you doing? You got some explaining to do, and he needs to go. Like, bye bye. Why is he here? So we go to Ashley. She done came to Orphe Jeans to talk to her mama because she's having second thoughts about being back with Derek. And she kind of still she wants to be with Andre because Andre gives her butterflies or whatever. You give me butterflies. Let me stop. Um, or whatever, but she feels safe with Derek. So we see Danny and Andre, they're talking about exes, and well, they're talking about Bill and Ashley, and Danny is just like, I didn't know that you and Ashley that Ashley became an ex even though y'all were never together. And it's just like, for real. So again, they talk about whatever. He tells her he ran into her. She tells him what her and Bill was talking about, and Danny's just like, well, enough of this talking. Let's go back. Let's go back to the house. So we see Ashley and her mom, and they continue to talk, and her mom is giving her advice on, why she should be with Derek, basically, or whatever. And Ashley she's made up her mind at this point. So we see Kat and Samantha, and Kat is telling her, like, you play too much. Why would you even do that? We trusted you, and you are breaking this trust. Samantha's just like, well, you gave me a key. Yeah, I gave you a key to do like work stuff, not to bring boys over to the house. Like, come on now, quit playing with me, girl. So Kat tells her, like, if you want to hang out with people, you need to do that at your house with your parents' approval. And Samantha's just like, please don't tell my dad. And she's just like, I won't tell, but you're gonna have to. So Samantha says something that makes Kat feel a way where she's just like, damn, maybe I was wrong to talk to Tomas the way that I talked to him. So we see Bill, he's at Naomi's, and cause he came there to check, to be with his girls, because again, he don't want to go home. So they're talking, he wants to know, he's sitting in this little itty bitty chair, and it's just like, oh, he looks so uncomfortable. So he's talking, and he's asking Naomi what's going on with her. So she tells him about June, and he's just like, oh, but that was a closed adoption. Do Smitty and Martin need to get a protective order? And it's just like, exactly. Bill knew what was up, not your daughter, who was quick to unseal those adoption records just so she could tell this unhoused woman about her kids. Bill was quick to think about his family than she was, his ex family than she was. So he tells them that he's gonna be there for them from moving forward, and he's gonna do better or whatever. So we go back to Samantha, and she done brought that boy back to Kat's house, and it's just like, you is bold. So he, she she's so bold. I can't believe she brought him back. I was just like, are you okay? So she was just like, I'm sorry about that. And he was just like, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And she was just like, well, what were we doing before we were interrupted? So they're getting ready to go back to kissing and whatnot. I'm just like, Samantha, you don't even know where Cat is. She could pop up again and you went and did this again. Like, girl, what are you is bold. Like, child. So we go back to Eva and Tomas, and they playing in our faces because what is this? So she tells him that no one stands up for her. No one stands up for her like he does. And he says, Kat doesn't know that if Eva wasn't in Leslie's life, keeping her in check, then she would do more trouble. And it's just like, she's not keeping her in check. Matter of fact, she said, I'm gonna let you run loose and let have on these people. So what are you talking about, Tomas? Why are you playing in our faces? Because y'all literally had this conversation earlier this week in that same exact spot. So what are you talking about? Her having this woman in check. She don't. She just told you that they about to go in on this family. What are you talking about? Why are you like, you literally just had a conversation about taking on this woman's case, and you talking about she's keeping Leslie in check. She's not. If she was keeping Leslie in check, Leslie wouldn't be doing none of the stuff that she's done. How did she keep Leslie in check? What more trouble can Leslie be? This woman is wreaking havoc on all of us. Not just the people in Fairmont Crest, but everybody watching. She's wreaking havoc. So what are you talking about? I don't know. Anyways, so Tomas tells her she deserves more credit, and Eva puts her hand on his hand, and is basically telling him, thank you. And he's telling her, you're a good person, and he puts his hand on her hand. Prior to Cat walks in. Um Cat walks in, and that's when he says, you're a good person, you deserve more credit. And they touching on each other or whatever. And Cat walks out, and then Eva is like smiling and whatnot, and then she's just like, well, I have to go look for Ted, and good luck with you and good luck, and I hope you and Cat work it out. So she walks out to leave, and then she looks like he's looking back like a little bit, but not really. And then she turns back to look at him, and then she smiles as she's leaving. And it's just like, see, Tomas, you just dumb. Like, you falling for her trap. She about to break up your relationship. Hopefully, I hope she does, because I don't need you to be with Kat. Like, I need Kat to do better, because you are literal trash. You and Eva are literal trash, and y'all deserve each other. So we get back to Derek and Ashley, and Derek is feeling his legs, and he can feel in his legs or whatever. Ashley comes in, and he attempts to tell her, and she says, "Wait, I have to tell you something." She talks about how uh everything is always leading her back to him, and X, Y, and Z. And then she gets down on one knee and proposes. And then we end the episode with Danny and Andre about to make love. So that was the end of this week's episode. So we going into next week, and it's about to go down, and Ted is gonna piss me off. That's all I got for for next week. So we'll be into that. If you like what you see, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you can see whenever I post, and get down in the comments and let me know what you thought of this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one.